Ever walked into a room and just completely forgotten why you went
Oh,
there?
all the time.
Or, someone introduces themselves and boom, their name just vanishes like milliseconds later.
Yep. Guilty.
Happens to all of us, right?
Yeah.
It's that little jolt that reminds you just how much work your brain is doing constantly,
Mm-hmm.
juggling everything from the simple stuff like remembering to grab your keys.
Right, the keys. Always the keys.
To the really important things like, building relationships, learning new ideas.
It's so true. And let's face it, in today's world, our brains are just bombarded.
Yeah.
Absolutely swamped.
Yeah.
We're swimming in this constant flood of information, pinging notifications, endless social feeds, headlines, emails.
Stop.
It really is. And our attention gets splintered into a million pieces. And when your attention is scattered like that, well, memory is usually the first casualty. That feeling of information overload. It isn't just annoying. It actively makes it harder for our brains to, store and pull stuff back out.
You know that feeling when you try to read something important, but you're kind of half listening for your phone buzzing?
Oh, yeah.
It feels like the words just sort of slide right off your brain.
Precisely. Your brain isn't really multitasking there. It's just switching focus really, really fast.
Which is terrible for memory.
Incredibly inefficient for learning, for memory formation. But
Yeah.
here's the really exciting part, the sort of aha moment that changes things.
Okay.
Your memory is not fixed. It's not like you get a certain amount when you're born and, that's your lot.
Right.
It's much more like a muscle, something you can absolutely train and strengthen and improve all through your life. Doesn't matter how old you are or where you're starting from.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've pulled together some insights, looking at practical, science-backed ways you can actually work on improving your memory, sharpening your focus, and just making that whole process of holding on to information feel less like a struggle.
Yeah, make it easier.
Make it easier. We're talking simple, brain-friendly habits, lifestyle tweaks, maybe some fun mental tricks. Not necessarily meditating in a cave for hours, unless you want to.
Right, because memory isn't just about, remembering facts for a test.
No.
It's the foundation of how we learn anything new, how we make sense of the world, how we connect with people. It's how we build our understanding of life, really.
If you couldn't remember anything, every moment would feel totally new and confusing.
Completely disorienting, yeah. At its most basic level, memory is just your brain taking information in, holding onto it for a bit, and then retrieving it when you need it.
Simple.
Sounds simple, but it's not just one single thing. It's actually a whole network of systems all working together.
Okay, let's break that down then. What are these different memory systems? And why does understanding them actually, matter?
Okay, so think of your memory like it has a few different departments. First, there's your short-term memory. This is like a temporary scratch pad, a mental sticky note. It holds a very small amount of info, maybe around 7 items. Think of old phone numbers before mobiles.
Yeah, just that little bit.
Just that little bit. And only for a few seconds, maybe up to a minute. It's useful for immediate tasks, but unless you consciously do something with that information, poof, it fades fast.
So like remembering a Wi-Fi password just long enough to type it in.
Exactly that. Perfect example. Then you've got the big one. Long-term memory.
The main archive.
That's it. The vast library where information gets stored more permanently could be hours, could be years, decades even, and its capacity, well, we think it's pretty much unlimited.
Wow.
This is where all your personal experiences live, your factual knowledge, your language skills, all those abilities you've learned over time.
And long-term memory isn't just one big bucket either, is it? There's the stuff you consciously recall, and then the stuff your body just knows how to do.
Exactly right. We often split long-term memory into 2 types. There's explicit memory, that's the conscious stuff. Facts, we call that semantic memory. And events you've experienced, episodic memory.
Like remembering your first day at school or what you had for breakfast.
Precisely. And then there's implicit memory. This is the unconscious stuff, the skills. Muscle memory, basically. Riding a bike, typing on a keyboard, playing piano.
You don't have to think about the steps.
Nope. Your implicit memory just handles it. You don't consciously recall how to pedal each time.
And then there's the one that feels, I don't know, most connected to that overwhelmed, scattered feeling we talked about earlier, working memory.
Ah, yes. Working memory is critical. It's different from short-term memory. It's not just holding information briefly.
Yep.
It's your brain's active workspace. It's where you hold information while you're manipulating it, or comparing it, or using it to solve a problem right now.
Like doing mental math.
Exactly. Or following multi-step instructions, or even just understanding a long, complex sentence as you hear it. That's all working memory in action. And it's very, very tightly linked to your ability to focus and pay attention.
Okay, so knowing about these different types, it's not just like interesting trivia. It actually helps us figure out how to get better.
Absolutely. It's super practical. Think about it. If you're struggling to remember a new English word the next day, it might mean it didn't make the leap from short-term or working memory into long-term storage properly.
Oh, okay.
Or if you keep losing your train of thought mid-conversation, that could point to a challenge with working memory capacity or focus. Understanding the systems helps you pick the right strategies.
So cramming for a test,
Yeah.
that's just hitting short-term memory, really.
Mostly, yeah. It's shaky. For lasting learning, you need techniques that really engage that long-term storage. It's about getting it into the library, not just leaving it on the front desk.
And maybe it helps you personalize things, too. Like, I know I remember things better if I see them.
Exactly. Some people are visual learners, others auditory. Knowing these memory types helps you tailor your learning approach to what works best for your brain.
Makes sense.
Makes the whole process less frustrating, more effective.
Okay, so memory is complex. It's this system of systems. But if we can train it, why does forgetting happen so easily sometimes? It really feels like a design flaw.
Doesn't it? It feels like a glitch in the system. But actually, forgetting is, well, it's a totally normal part of how your brain works. It's even functional in a way.
Functional? How?
Well, your brain just can't hold on to every single tiny piece of information it encounters all day long. Imagine the clutter.
True.
It has to prioritize. Letting go of the less important stuff helps prevent total overload. Think of it like your brain's built-in spam filter.
Okay, a spam filter. I like that.
But there are definitely common reasons why we forget things we actually wanted to remember. And identifying those reasons is the first step to changing the pattern.
Like that walking into a room and okay, total blank.
Classic example. And probably one of the biggest culprits, research backs this up again and again, is simply lack of attention. If you weren't really paying proper attention in the first place, the information never really got encoded properly. It wasn't truly registered. So you can't forget something that wasn't really there to begin with.
So multitasking, checking your phone while someone's talking.
Huge offender. Your brain isn't giving full attention to either task. The initial memory trace is weak or maybe non-existent.
Wow. So that scattered feeling literally stops the memory forming.
It weakens it significantly, yeah. Another major factor, stress.
Uh-oh.
High levels of stress hormones like cortisol. They interfere with both the formation of new memories and the retrieval of old ones.
That terrifying moment your mind goes blank in an exam or a job interview.
That's often stress hijacking your memory systems.
Exactly.
And what's really concerning, studies are showing that chronic stress, ongoing stress, it can actually physically impact the brain. It might even reduce the size of the hippocampus.
No way.
Yeah, the hippocampus is a key area for memory formation. So stress could literally be shrinking a part of your memory center over time.
That's a really powerful, scary visual. Stress shrinking your memory. What else gets in the way?
Fatigue. Just plain old tiredness.
Makes sense.
Your brain needs consistent energy, optimal conditions. Being tired disrupts all that. If you find you're constantly forgetting little things, it might just be a sign your brain isn't getting the rest it needs to function properly.
My brain definitely feels like mush when I'm exhausted. Everything's harder.
Right. Then there's something called memory interference.
Interference.
Yeah, this happens when similar pieces of information get kind of tangled up in your brain. Makes it hard to pull out the specific detail you need.
Like Trying to remember your new phone number when your old one was similar.
Perfect example. Or mixing up words that sound alike when you're learning a new language. That's interference. It's especially bad when you try to cram lots of similar stuff all at once.
That explains why learning languages can sometimes feel like untangling a bowl of spaghetti.
Exactly. All those similar verb conjugations or vocabulary words. An emotional distraction plays a part too.
How so?
If you're in a highly emotional situation, maybe really excited, maybe upset, your brain might focus intensely on the feeling of the moment and less on the specific words being said or the factual details. You'll remember how you felt, vividly maybe, but not the exact points that were made.
That's really insightful, especially thinking about arguments.
Yeah.
You remember being angry, but not what was said.
Precisely. Finally, 2 more quick ones. Routine and lack of meaning.
Okay.
When you do something on autopilot every single day, like locking the front door, your brain doesn't always create a strong conscious memory of doing it that specific time. It's routine deemed low priority.
So you can't remember if you actually did it 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. And if information just feels boring or abstract or totally irrelevant to you, your brain has less motivation to store it. Information that's tied to emotions or told as a story or connected to something you already care about, that stuff sticks much, much better.
So forgetting isn't necessarily a character flaw. It's partly how the brain works, and it gets worse when we're distracted, stressed, tired, or when the info just isn't presented in a brain-friendly way.
You got it. And understanding why we forget gives us the power to do things differently.
Right, to train our attention, manage stress, prioritize rest.
Make information meaningful. Exactly. And that leads us perfectly into our first really powerful strategy for supporting and improving memory. It's something we all need, we all know we need, but often sacrifice. Sleep.
The universal fix. Seems like everything circles back to getting enough sleep.
It really does, and for good reason. Especially for memory, sleep is it's non-negotiable. We often cut sleep short, thinking we're gaining productive time, right?
Yeah, trying to squeeze more hours in.
But we're actually robbing our brains of crucial memory work. Sleep isn't just off time for the brain, it's vital processing time. Essential.
So what exactly is the brain doing for our memory while we're supposedly just out cold?
The biggest thing is a process called memory consolidation.
Consolidation.
Yeah, okay. Think of your brain taking all the information you encountered during the day, all the facts, the experiences, the skills you practiced, and basically sorting through it all.
Like tidying up.
Exactly. While you sleep, your brain reviews this information, filters out some of the less important stuff, and actively works to transfer the important details from those temporary holding areas, like short-term memory, into more permanent long-term storage networks. It's strengthening the connections.
So it's like diligently filing away all the important notes and experiences from the day, making them secure.
That's a great way to put it. Research shows this consistently. People remember new information much, much better after they've slept on it, compared to if they just stay awake. Sleep is when those fragile new memory traces get reinforced and integrated into your existing knowledge. Different sleep stages even seem to play different roles.
Correct.
Yeah, deep sleep seems particularly crucial for consolidating factual information like things you studied. REM sleep, the dream stage, appears important for processing emotional memories and also for making creative connections between different pieces of information.
So pulling an all-nighter before a test is really counterproductive.
Completely. You might feel like you crammed it in, but you've denied your brain the chance to actually consolidate and store what you tried to learn. It won't stick.
Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating for me. I read something about an amazing sort of cleaning system that runs in your brain while you sleep.
Yes. This is relatively newer research, but it's incredibly exciting. It's called the glymphatic system.
Glymphatic. Oh,
and it's essentially a waste removal system that seems unique to the brain. During sleep, especially deep sleep, the space between your brain cells actually increases slightly.
Wow.
And this allows cerebrospinal fluid to flow through more easily, flushing out metabolic waste products and toxins that build up while you're awake, including some proteins that are linked to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's.
So it's like a nightly power wash for your brain. Getting rid of the junk.
Kind of a nightly detox. So getting enough quality sleep might literally help prevent memory problems down the line just by keeping the brain's plumbing clear and functioning well.
Wow. Okay, sleep is cleaning my brain and filing my memories. That's incredible motivation to actually prioritize it. But what if someone really struggles to get good sleep? Lots of people do.
Absolutely. It's a common issue. But there are definitely practical things you can try. Consistency is probably number one.
Same bedtime, same wake-up time.
Trying to stick to it as much as possible, yeah. Even on weekends, it helps regulate your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, making it easier to fall asleep and wake up naturally.
Okay.
Also, limit screen time before bed. That blue light from phones, tablets, computers, it can interfere with your body's production of melatonin, the sleep hormone.
Right, makes it harder to wind down.
Definitely. Try to create a sleep sanctuary. Make your bedroom dark, quiet, cool. Use blackout curtains, earplugs if you need them. If your mind is racing, sometimes just a quick journaling session, getting those thoughts out of your head and onto paper can really help.
Just dump the worries.
Exactly. And avoid caffeine and heavy meals too close to bedtime. They can obviously interfere with sleep.
And I remember reading that exercise helps with sleep too, right?
Huge connection there. Regular physical activity significantly improves sleep quality for most people, just maybe not right before bed for some. And simple relaxation techniques. Deep breathing, gentle stretching, maybe a warm bath can signal to your body that it's time to wind down.
Makes sense.
Sleep really isn't a luxury. It's a fundamental biological requirement for a healthy, high-functioning brain. You gotta make it a priority.
Okay, so speaking of fueling the brain, let's move from rest to resources. Our next powerful tool is food. What you eat doesn't just impact your body. It has a really profound effect on your memory and how well your brain works.
Oh, absolutely true. Your brain is this incredible supercomputer, right? And like any high-performance machine, it needs high-quality fuel to run efficiently.
Pretty demanding, isn't it?
It really is. Even though it's only about 2% of your body weight, your brain uses roughly 20% of your daily calories and oxygen intake. It's hungry.
Wow, 20%?
Yeah. So giving it the right nutrients directly impacts your concentration, your mental speed, your focus, and absolutely your ability to learn and remember things.
Okay, so spill the beans, or maybe the berries. What should we actually be eating to feed our memory? Hit us with the top brain foods.
All right. Top of the list, you mentioned them, blueberries. Seriously. These little guys are packed with antioxidants, especially flavonoids.
Flavonoids, okay.
Research strongly suggests these compounds can help protect brain cells from damage caused by free radicals, and they're linked to improvements in memory function and potentially even slowing down age-related cognitive decline.
So eat your blueberries.
Eat your blueberries, add them to cereal, yogurt, smoothies. Just get them in.
Delicious. It makes you smarter. I'm totally on board with that one. What else?
Next up, fatty fish. Things like salmon, mackerel, herring, sardines.
Like oily ones.
Yep. They are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, especially one called DHA. DHA is actually a major structural component of your brain cells, particularly the cell membranes.
So it's literally building blocks for your brain.
Exactly. Omega-3s are essential for healthy brain cell communication, nerve transmission. They're strongly linked to better learning, improved mood, and better memory function.
What if someone doesn't eat fish?
Good question. You can get omega-3s from plant sources too, like walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. The body might not use the plant form, ALA, quite as efficiently as DHA from fish, but they're still very beneficial.
Okay, so fatty fish are walnuts and seeds. Got it. What about drinks? Anything you should be sipping on?
Green tea is a good one. It has a bit of caffeine, less than coffee usually, which can help with alertness.
Right.
But it also contains an amino acid called L-theanine. And L-theanine promotes a feeling of calm and relaxation without making you drowsy.
Oh, interesting combination.
Yeah. So the combination of caffeine and L-theanine can lead to the state of sort of calm focus, which is pretty ideal for studying or doing tasks that require concentration.
Calm focus. That sounds like the dream state for learning something new.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask. I keep hearing whispers about dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me there's some truth to that.
Good news, there is. In moderation, of course.
Okay, moderation. I can do that, maybe.
Dark chocolate, especially the stuff with a high cocoa content, like 70% or more, is rich in flavonoids, similar to blueberries, and also antioxidants, and even a little caffeine.
And what do those do?
These compounds are thought to improve blood flow to the brain. Better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients, which can support both short-term and long-term cognitive function, including memory. But again, the key word is moderation.
Right, because too much sugar. That's bad news for the brain, isn't it?
Definitely bad news. Diets high in refined sugar have been linked to memory problems and reduced brain performance over time. Your brain really prefers a steady supply of energy, not those sharp spikes and crashes you get from sugary stuff.
So complex carbs instead.
Exactly. Things like whole grains, oats, quinoa, brown rice, they provide that slower, more sustained energy release. Also really important are foods rich in vitamin E, which is another protective antioxidant. Think nuts and seeds, sunflower seeds, almonds are great, and also leafy green vegetables like spinach and kale.
Okay, nuts, seeds, greens, and I feel like I should mention broccoli. Doesn't broccoli come up a lot?
Broccoli is a powerhouse. It's packed with nutrients, including vitamin K and antioxidants that are linked to brain health and memory. Good call.
And probably the most fundamental, basic nutrient your brain needs. Can't forget this one.
Has to be water. Simple H2O. Your brain is roughly 75% water.
75%, wow.
Yeah. So even mild dehydration can lead to symptoms like brain fog, fatigue, headaches, difficulty concentrating, all things that obviously hurt your memory and thinking.
It's amazing how quickly you feel fuzzy when you haven't had enough water.
It's almost immediate. Simplest tip. Keep a water bottle nearby and just sip on it regularly throughout the day. It's probably the easiest, most overlooked brain booster there is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Sometimes just stopping to have a glass of water genuinely clears the mental haze a bit.
Absolutely. And how you eat matters too, not just what. Instead of huge, heavy meals that can leave you feeling sluggish and sleepy.
Food coma.
Exactly. Aim for balanced meals that combine healthy fats, lean protein, and those complex carbs for sustained energy. And try not to skip breakfast. It really does give your brain that initial fuel it needs to get going for the day.
Jumpstarts the system.
Yeah. And it probably goes without saying, but limit alcohol and highly processed foods. They offer very little nutritional value for your brain and can actually interfere with its function.
So putting it all together, a brain-friendly menu looks like lots of colorful plants. Berries, greens, healthy fats from fish or nuts, steady energy from whole grains, and making sure you drink plenty of water.
You got it. And remember, small, consistent choices add up over time. Don't feel you have to overhaul everything at once. Maybe just focus on adding things in first. Sprinkle those blueberries, grab a handful of walnuts, make sure you drink that extra glass of water. Fuel your brain well, and it will definitely thank you with better performance.
Okay, we've talked about resting the brain and fueling the brain. Now let's talk about how you use your body to help your brain. Our next powerful strategy isn't just about physical fitness. It's actually a massive game changer for your brain health too. Movement and exercise.
This is one of the most potent things you can do for your brain, honestly. And the effects can be felt relatively quickly.
Yeah.
We all know exercise is good for the body, right? Heart health, weight management.
I have the usual stuff.
But its impact on brain health and specifically on memory and learning is just profound, really significant.
How exactly does moving your body translate into remembering things better? What's the connection?
Well, first off, physical activity dramatically increases blood flow to the brain. More blood flow means a richer supply of oxygen, glucose, which is the brain's primary fuel, and all those essential nutrients we just talked about. It's like giving your brain's engine a fresh burst of high-octane fuel.
Ah, makes sense. Better fuel delivery.
Exactly. This increased blood flow helps your brain just work more efficiently overall, improves focus, processing speed, and crucially, the ability to form new memories and retrieve old ones.
So exercise is literally waking up your brain. giving it more power.
It really is. And it does more than just increase blood flow. Exercise stimulates the release of important brain chemicals. You get the feel-good endorphins, of course, plus dopamine and serotonin, which help regulate mood and reduce stress.
And less stress helps memory.
Bingo. But exercise is also a potent trigger for something called BDNF.
BDNF.
Brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Sometimes people call it brain fertilizer or miracle grow for the brain.
Brain fertilizer. I love that.
It's a great image, right? BDNF supports the survival of existing brain cells, promotes the growth of new brain cells, neurogenesis, and encourages the formation of new connections, new synapses between neurons.
Wow.
Especially in areas vital for memory and learning, like the hippocampus. Exercise is literally helping your brain grow and build stronger networks.
That's amazing. And you don't need to become like an ultra-marathon runner to get these benefits, right? Please say no.
Absolutely not. This is so key. You really don't. Studies show that even short bursts of physical activity can have immediate positive effects on cognitive function.
Like how short?
Like a brisk 10-minute walk, seriously. That can boost your concentration and improve your working memory performance right away for a short period afterwards.
10 minutes. Everyone can find 10 minutes.
Right. So if you're feeling stuck while you're studying or trying to solve a problem at work, one of the best things you can do is just get up and move your body. Go for a quick walk outside. It helps clear your head, improves focus. The body and brain are so deeply interconnected.
It makes so much sense when you think about how we evolved, doesn't it? We didn't evolve sitting in chairs for 8 hours straight.
Not at all. Our brains are fundamentally wired for movement. That's why so many people find they think more clearly or get their best creative ideas when they're out walking or hiking or doing some kind of physical activity. Movement is integrated into optimal brain function.
Okay, so what types of exercise are particularly good for boosting brain health and memory? Is it all cardio?
Aerobic exercise is definitely fantastic. Things like brisk walking, jogging, swimming, cycling, anything that gets your heart rate up. It's great for improving that blood flow and oxygenation. Plus, it helps regulate blood sugar and reduce inflammation, which are also important for brain health. Aiming for moderate intensity on a regular basis is really beneficial.
Okay, cardio's king. What about weights?
Strength training is also really important. Lifting weights, using resistance bands, body weight exercises. Research shows this also boosts BDNF levels. And some studies suggest it might be particularly protective against age-related memory decline and can improve executive functions like decision-making.
Interesting. So a mix is probably good.
A mix is ideal. And don't forget activities like yoga or Tai Chi. They incorporate balance, coordination, and mindful movement. They're excellent for calming the nervous system, reducing stress, which we know is a major memory blocker, and improving body awareness.
And presumably just finding something you actually enjoy doing makes a huge difference in sticking with it.
Absolutely crucial. If you hate it, you won't do it consistently. Whether it's dancing around your living room, playing a sport, hiking with friends, anything that gets you moving regularly is valuable. Find your fun.
So for someone listening who feels like they have absolutely no time for exercise, how can they start incorporating more movement into their day? Baby steps.
Start incredibly small. Don't aim for an hour at the gym right away. Literally aim for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Walk around the block on your lunch break. Always take the stairs instead of the elevator. Park your car a little further away from the store entrance. Do a few simple stretches right when you wake up in the morning.
Little things.
Tiny things. Set a timer on your phone to remind you to just stand up and move around for 2 minutes every hour if you have a desk job. Do some squats or push-ups during a TV commercial break. Dance while you're cleaning the kitchen.
Huh. I like that one.
The point isn't perfection. It's building the habit of consistent movement. Those small choices really do accumulate into significant benefits for your body and your brain over time.
So movement isn't just optional for health. It's a really powerful lever we can pull for mental clarity, for energy, and for strengthening our brain's ability to learn and remember.
Your brain evolved to move. Use that fundamental connection to boost your cognitive power every day.
Okay, in a world that feels like it's constantly buzzing with notifications, demands, distractions,
Yeah.
Our next strategy is all about finding a bit of calm and focus right here, right now. It's about mindfulness.
Yes. Our minds are often described as being like unruly puppies or monkeys, constantly chasing after thoughts about the past, worries about the future, jumping from one thing to another.
The monkey mind, yeah.
Exactly. And all that mental scattering creates this internal noise. It's stressful, obviously, but it's also incredibly disruptive to our ability to focus, to learn effectively, and ultimately to remember things clearly. Mindfulness is essentially the practice of gently training that puppy or that monkey to just pay attention to what's happening right now.
So what does being mindful actually look like or feel like in practice? It sounds a bit vague sometimes.
It can sound vague, but at its heart, it's actually very simple. It's paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment.
Without judgment. That's key, isn't it?
It's crucial. It means just noticing your breath as it is, noticing sensations in your body, noticing sounds around you, even noticing your thoughts and feelings as they arise, but just observing them without immediately getting carried away by them or labeling them as good or bad or I shouldn't be thinking this. It's an active choice to anchor your attention in the now.
Okay, so bringing your attention back to the present moment,
Mm-hmm.
how does that specifically help with memory?
Well, there are two main ways it works, and they're both really powerful. First, mindfulness is a phenomenal stress reducer.
Back to stress again.
Yep. By consciously shifting your attention and adopting that non-judgmental stance, you can activate your body's relaxation response, the parasympathetic nervous system. This counteracts the stress response. And with less cortisol flooding your system, well, those brain areas critical for memory, like the hippocampus, they just function much more effectively.
So less stress, better memory hardware performance.
Basically, yes. The second way, and this is maybe even more direct from a learning perspective, is that mindfulness is direct attention training.
Connecting back to that idea that you can't remember what you didn't really notice in the first place.
Exactly. We keep coming back to attention because it's fundamental. If you're trying to read a chapter for class or listen to instructions, but your mind is busy replaying an argument from yesterday or planning dinner, that information isn't being properly encoded. It's just not getting in effectively.
Right.
Mindfulness practice strengthens your ability to deliberately focus your attention where you want it to be, on the task at hand, on the information in front of you, and to notice when your mind wanders and gently bring it back. It's like taking your brain's focus muscle to the gym.
Better attention leads directly to better encoding in memories, which means better recall later.
You got it. A mindful brain is a brain that is more present. It absorbs information more deeply, it stores it more clearly, and it can retrieve it more reliably when needed. And the great news is you don't need to become, a Zen master meditating for hours to start seeing benefits. Simple techniques you can weave into your day make a real difference.
Okay, let's try one, like a super simple one people could do right now.
Okay, perfect. Just take a moment, wherever you are, sitting or standing. Just gently bring your attention to your breath. You don't need to change it or breathe in any special way. Just notice the natural rhythm.
Yeah, okay.
Feel the sensation of the air coming in through your nose or mouth. Feel your chest or belly rising. And then feel the air going back out. Just notice that cycle. In and out. Now, your mind will probably wander off to thoughts. That's totally normal.
Oh, I've already did.
See, the practice isn't about stopping thoughts. It's about noticing when you've wandered, gently acknowledging the thought without judgment, thinking, and then kindly guiding your attention back to the feeling of the breath. Let's do that for maybe 2 more breaths. In, out.
In, out. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, even just that brief pause. It does make a noticeable difference. It kind of clears the mental static a bit.
Doesn't it? That's the power of just 1 or 2 mindful breaths. It brings you right back here. Another really quick technique is the 5 senses check-in.
5 senses?
Yeah. Wherever you are, just take a moment to deliberately notice. 5 things you can see around you, then 4 things you can hear, then 3 things you can feel against your skin, like the chair, your clothes, the air, then 2 things you can smell. And finally, 1 thing you can taste, even if it's just the taste of your own mouth.
That really anchors you in the physical environment.
Instantly. It's a fantastic way to ground yourself when your mind feels like it's spinning out of control, pulls you right back to the present reality.
That's a great tool, especially for feeling overwhelmed.
Definitely. And you can bring mindfulness into activities too, like mindful walking. Instead of being lost in thought while you walk, pay attention to the sensation of your feet hitting the ground, your breath, the sounds and sights around you, or mindful listening.
Ooh, tell me about mindful listening.
This is huge for relationships and remembering conversations. It means really giving your full, undivided attention to the person speaking, not just waiting for your turn to talk, not formulating your reply while they're still speaking. We all do it. Mindful listening is about being truly present for them, hearing their words, noticing their tone, their body language. When you listen that deeply, you encode the information much more effectively. You actually hear them.
That's a game changer for actually remembering what people say.
Absolutely. Now, while these simple, informal techniques are powerful, it's worth mentioning that more formal meditation practice, even just setting aside 5 or 10 minutes regularly to focus on your breath or body sensations, has been shown in studies to potentially lead to physical changes in the brain.
Really? Like what?
Increases in gray matter density in areas important for memory, learning, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. It's the consistency, again, not necessarily the duration or achieving some perfect state of bliss that seems to matter most.
So, mindfulness isn't just about feeling calm, though that's a great benefit. It's a direct workout for your attention span. And it creates a better mental environment for learning and memory to actually happen.
Exactly. Think of it as your portable anchor in this noisy, distracting world we live in. Bring your attention back to the present again and again, and you make space for memory to thrive.
All right, we've done sleep, food, exercise, mindfulness. Enough serious stuff for a minute. Let's have some fun. Our next set of tools involves using clever tricks, associations, maybe even being a bit silly, to make remembering things easier. Let's talk about mnemonics and memory techniques.
Yes, this is where you get to be really creative and actually play to your brain's natural strengths.
Yeah.
Our brains, fundamentally, they aren't built like computer databases, right?
No, definitely not.
They remember patterns, images, stories, locations, emotions far, far better than they remember just raw, abstract data or lists of facts. Mnemonics are basically clever ways to transform that boring, abstract information into something engaging, vivid, and, well, sticky.
Sticky. I like that, because the brain loves anything that's kind of funny or bizarre or really unusual.
Precisely. There's a well-documented phenomenon called the picture superiority effect. We are significantly more likely to remember information if it's presented to us as an image, or if we can easily visualize it ourselves. Mnemonics tap into this, and also into our brain's preference for novelty, association, and things that trigger a little emotional response, even if it's just humor.
Okay, so what are some of the classic mnemonic examples people might recognize? Give us some greatest hits.
Sure, acronyms are super common. That's where you take the first letter of each item in a list you need to remember, and you form a new word or a memorable phrase out of those letters.
Like ROYG, BIV for the rainbow colors.
Exactly. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, perfect example. Or maybe homes for the Great Lakes in North America. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior. They compress a lot of information into one easy-to-remember trigger word.
Those are so useful for remembering things in a specific order, or just lists.
Definitely. Another really powerful one is visualization. This is where you deliberately create vivid, maybe even totally ridiculous mental images or a little mini story that incorporates the things you want to remember.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you keep forgetting that the capital of France is Paris. Instead of just repeating Paris, France, you could vividly imagine the Eiffel Tower wearing a giant, fluffy French beret and maybe nibbling on a baguette.
Chuckles. Okay, Eiffel Tower in a beret. Got it.
The crazier, the funnier, the more multisensory you can make that mental image, the better it's going to stick in your memory. You need to remember a short grocery list, say milk, eggs, and bread.
Yeah.
Picture a giant milk carton wearing a hat made of fried eggs, and it's using a long French baguette as a walking cane.
Okay, the weirder the mental picture, the easier it is to recall.
Yeah.
That actually makes a strange kind of sense.
It does. Your brain pays attention to things that are unusual or unexpected. Rhymes and songs are also incredibly sticky mnemonics. Think about how easily we remember song lyrics, sometimes from decades ago.
Oh yeah, much easier than textbook paragraphs.
Exactly. Turning facts or rules or dates into a simple rhyme or putting them to a familiar tune makes them incredibly memorable, like 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. Most people know that one.
Or, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Still got that one.
See? It works. Another fundamental technique is chunking.
Chunking.
Yeah, just breaking down long strings of information, especially numbers, into smaller, more manageable chunks. Like how we naturally remember phone numbers not as one long string, but as groups of 3 or 4 digits.
Right, like 555, then a 1283, then 4567.
Exactly. Our brains handle those smaller chunks much better than one long, intimidating sequence. Same applies to breaking down dense text into shorter paragraphs or using bullet points. It's all chunking.
Our brains do that automatically with phone numbers. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's working with how your brain naturally processes information best. And then for remembering longer lists or sequences of information, there's a really powerful ancient technique called the method of loci, or the memory palace.
Memory palace. Sounds grand.
It's pretty cool. The basic idea is you choose a place you know extremely well, like your own house or the route you walk to work. Then you mentally place the items you want to remember at specific locations along that route or in different rooms.
So like the milk carton with the egg hat is by my front door. The Eiffel Tower is in the living room.
Exactly. Then, to recall the information, you just mentally walk through your memory palace and see the items you placed there. It links the new information to familiar spatial memory, which is very strong for humans.
That sounds incredibly useful for maybe giving a presentation or a speech without notes.
It's been used for centuries for exactly that. Ancient Greek and Roman orators used it. But here's the real kicker, the thing that makes mnemonics truly powerful for you. Create your own.
Don't just use the standard ones.
Well, the standard ones are great starting points. But the act of inventing your own silly acronym, your own bizarre visualization, your own little rhyme, using your sense of humor, your personal memories and associations, that makes the information far more meaningful and engaging to your specific brain.
It makes the connection personal.
Totally. It activates more neural pathways just in the creation process itself. You're actively building the connection, not just passively receiving it.
So it's like forging the memory path yourself rather than just walking down one someone else built.
Precisely. It turns remembering from a chore into an active, creative process. Mnemonics aren't magic spells, but they can make remembering feel almost magical because they align so well with how our brains are naturally wired to learn and recall things effectively.
This sounds incredibly useful for learning something like English, especially with all the new vocabulary and maybe tricky grammar rules.
Oh, absolutely. Turn that new word you keep forgetting into a crazy image. Stick different verb tenses in different rooms of your memory palace. Create a funny acronym for irregular plurals. Make it playful, make it weird, and it's much more likely to stick.
Okay, so we have these clever tricks, but we also talked about memory being like a muscle. You have to use it, but it's not just about how hard you flex it, right? It's about when and how often. This brings us to the power of repetition and space learning.
Yes. This is probably the single most important scientifically validated technique for actually getting information to move from that fragile, easily forgotten short-term memory into stable, durable, long-term memory. And it's all based on understanding how we naturally forget things over time.
You mentioned something earlier, the forgetting curve. Is that related?
Exactly that. Way back in the late 19th century, a psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus did these experiments on himself, memorizing lists of nonsense syllables, and he discovered something crucial. We forget a huge amount of newly learned information very, very quickly if we don't actively review it.
How quickly?
The sharpest drop-off happens within the first hour or the first day. Without any conscious effort to revisit the material, a significant chunk of what you heard in a lecture or read in an article today, it'll likely be gone by tomorrow.
Wow. That's actually a bit depressing to think about. All that effort potentially wasted.
It can feel that way, but the good news is you can totally hack that forgetting curve. Every single time you review the information, you interrupt that downward slide of forgetting, you strengthen the memory trace. And the real magic happens with spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition.
Oh,
Okay, what's the spaced part mean?
it means you time those review sessions strategically. Instead of just reviewing randomly, you aim to review the information just before your brain is about to forget it. That moment when recalling it takes a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
That effortful retrieval is like telling your brain, hey, pay attention. This information is important. Keep this pathway strong. It signals the brain to reinforce that connection. And over time, as the memory gets stronger, you can gradually increase the intervals, the spaces between those reviews.
So it's not just repeating it over and over again right away. It's review it today, then maybe review it again tomorrow, then maybe skip a couple of days and review it again, then maybe wait a week.
That's the basic principle, yes. You revisit the information at expanding intervals. Ebbinghaus himself found this was way more effective than mass practice cramming. Think of it like wattling a plant. A little bit regularly is much better for growth than drowning it all at once and then letting it dry out completely.
Right. Which explains perfectly why cramming for an exam doesn't lead to long-term learning.
Precisely. Cramming might jam information into your short-term or working memory just long enough for you to regurgitate it on the test the next morning.
Fingers crossed.
Right. But because you haven't given your brain the time and the repeated spaced exposure it needs to properly process, consolidate, and strengthen those neural pathways, most of that crammed information is lost very quickly afterwards. Your brain needs that spacing to build strong, durable memories.
Okay, so spaced repetition is the way to go for lasting memory. How can people actually do this effectively in practice? It sounds like it could get complicated to track.
It can seem that way, but there are great tools. The classic method, of course, is using flashcards. Simple, effective, whether they're physical index cards or digital ones. The absolute key with flashcards is active recall.
Active recall.
Yeah, that means looking at the prompt side, the question, the word, the concept, and really trying to retrieve the answer from your own memory before you flip it over or click to see the answer. That effortful struggle to remember, that's the learning sweet spot. It's much more powerful than just passively rereading your notes.
So don't just glance at the answer, really try to pull it out first.
Exactly. And now, luckily, we have technology that makes the spaced part much easier. There are fantastic apps specifically designed for spaced repetition.
Oh yeah, like what?
Anki is probably the most well-known and widely used. It's incredibly powerful. It uses a sophisticated algorithm based on the principles we've been talking about to calculate the optimal time to show you each individual flashcard based on how well you know it.
So it personalizes the spacing.
Totally. Cards you find difficult will show up more often. Cards you know well will appear less frequently, but they'll still come back just before the algorithm predicts you might forget them, keeping that memory trace active. Quizlet is another popular platform that has spaced repetition features built in, often with more game-like interfaces.
That sounds incredibly efficient. Takes the guesswork out of scheduling reviews.
It really does. But honestly, even a simple system with physical flashcards can work well. You could sort them into different boxes or piles like know well, kind of know, don't know yet, and just make sure you review the don't know yet pile daily, the kind of know pile every few days, and the know well pile maybe once a week or less.
This seems incredibly powerful for anything that requires memorizing specific information vocabulary, historical dates, scientific terms, formulas, even people's names.
Absolutely. Learning vocabulary in a new language, like English, is a perfect use case. You encounter a new word today. Put it on a flashcard, physical or digital, in your Anki deck. Review it tomorrow using active recall. Review it again the day after, maybe. Then again in 3 or 4 days. Then maybe in a week. That consistent spaced exposure powerfully reinforces the word until it becomes part of your active, usable vocabulary.
So the secret isn't overwhelming intensity all at once. It's about smart, consistent practice spread out over time.
You nailed it. Small, regular, smart effort beats massive, infrequent cramming sessions every single time when it comes to long-term retention and real understanding. This is a technique used by top language learners, medical students, anyone who needs to learn a lot of information reliably because it works with the way your brain is designed, not against it.
Okay, speaking of making things stick and keeping the brain active, our next tool is about challenging your mind, but maybe in a more fun, engaging way. Let's talk about brain training games.
Right. This really taps into that fundamental use it or lose it principle for cognitive skills. Just like physical exercise keeps your muscles strong and functional, engaging in mental challenges helps keep your brain sharp, flexible, and resilient. Puzzles, logic problems, specific cognitive games, they can be a great way to give your brain a regular workout.
So you mean those specific apps and websites designed for this? Like Lumosity?
Exactly. Apps like Lumosity, Elevate, Peak, and others have become really popular. They typically offer a variety of short, often quite engaging games designed to target different cognitive areas, things like memory, attention, problem-solving skills, processing speed, mental flexibility, verbal fluency.
And they often frame it like a daily workout.
Yeah, usually you get a set of personalized games each day. They often let you track your progress over time, see your scores improve, which can be quite motivating for people, keeps them coming back.
Okay, but the big question, are they actually effective? Do playing these games really improve your memory or make you smarter in real life?
That's the million-dollar question, and the research is, well, it's ongoing and sometimes a bit debated, especially regarding how much the skills learned in the game transfer to real-world tasks.
Ah, okay. So it's not a magic bullet.
Definitely not a magic bullet. However, consistently challenging your brain is undoubtedly beneficial. Playing these types of games regularly encourages your brain to form new neural connections. It improves your cognitive flexibility, your ability to switch between tasks or ways of thinking, and it can definitely help improve specific skills within the context of the games themselves, like boosting your focus, expanding your working memory capacity, or increasing your processing speed for those types of tasks.
And it can be fun, right? Which probably helps.
That's a huge factor. If it's enjoyable, you're more likely to do it. Plus, engaging in a fun activity can reduce stress and improve your mood, and as we know, lower stress and better mood are both good for memory and overall cognitive function.
And the great thing about many of these apps is you can often squeeze them into really short pockets of time, can't you?
Exactly. 5 or 10 minutes while you're waiting in line during your commute on the bus or train, maybe a quick break between work tasks. Turning that kind of idle time into active brain engagement is definitely a smart move. It's much better than just passively scrolling.
Good point.
But again, it's really important to view brain games as just one tool in your overall brain health toolkit. They're not a replacement for or a miracle cure that negates the need for other healthy habits. They work best when they're combined with things like getting good sleep, eating nutritious food, getting regular physical exercise, managing stress, and engaging in real-world learning.
So they support rather than replace.
Exactly. Think of them as a supplement, not the main course.
What kind of brain games would be good for someone just starting out, maybe specifically thinking about memory?
Well, anything that requires focused attention and recall is good. Simple matching games like concentration or finding pairs are great for visual memory and focus. Sequence games, where you have to remember and repeat a pattern of lights or sounds, like the old Simon Says game, those directly challenge your working memory.
I remember Simon, that was hard.
It gets tricky quickly. Word puzzles like simple crosswords, word searches, or anagrams are good for boosting vocabulary and verbal skills. Logic puzzles like Sudoku or Kenken engage problem solving and reasoning. And games that require you to make quick decisions or process information rapidly can help improve your mental processing speed.
And presumably classic games that aren't necessarily on an app still count, right? Like board games.
Oh, absolutely. Games like chess, bridge, checkers, Scrabble, many modern strategy board games, they all require significant memory, planning, strategic thinking, and problem-solving skills. They are fantastic brain workouts. The goal isn't necessarily to become a world champion gamer. It's simply to consistently engage your brain in ways that are novel, challenging, and hopefully enjoyable for you. Find games that hit that sweet spot. Not so easy, they're boring, but not so hard, they're frustrating.
So using brain training games, whether digital or traditional, is a fun, accessible way to keep your mind active, stimulate those neural pathways, and build connections that support better memory and overall cognitive function.
It's all about that consistent engagement. Give your brain that regular challenge, that bit of novelty. It loves it.
Okay, building directly on that idea of challenging your brain. Perhaps one of the most comprehensive full-body workouts you can give your memory and your overall cognitive abilities is to actually learn a new language or skill.
Yes, this is truly a full spectrum brain booster. It goes way beyond just playing a few games. Whether you're tackling a new language like English, or maybe picking up a musical instrument, learning to code, trying pottery, mastering complex recipes, the act of acquiring a complex new skill forces your brain to adapt, grow, and build new pathways in really incredible ways.
How does learning a language specifically give your brain such a powerful workout? It feels particularly demanding.
It is incredibly demanding in the best possible way. Think about everything that's involved just in learning English, for example. You're engaging your auditory processing systems intensely to distinguish and understand new sounds. You're using fine motor skills for pronunciation. Your visual system is working hard for reading. Your memory is obviously being pushed to its limits with vocabulary and grammar rules. And you're constantly using logic and pattern recognition to figure out sentence structure and usage.
Wow, when you break it down like that.
It requires this coordinated effort across multiple brain regions, all working together simultaneously. This kind of intense, varied, and sustained stimulation. It's like high-intensity interval training, but for your brain. It strengthens connections all over the place.
It must really push your working memory too, right? Trying to hold all those new pieces together while you speak or listen.
Oh, massively. Trying to hold new vocabulary words, grammatical rules, maybe a different sentence structures in your mind, while you're also trying to formulate your own thought or understand what someone is saying in real time. That is a huge workout for your working memory. And regularly doing that actually expands that mental workspace and improves its efficiency over time. Better working memory translates to better performance in lots of other areas of your life, too.
And it's constantly building new connections between things, isn't it? Not just storing isolated facts.
Absolutely. When you learn a new word, say apple, your brain doesn't just store it in a vacuum. It immediately starts connecting it to the concept you already have of an apple, maybe the word for apple in your native language, images of apples, the sound of the word, contexts where you've seen or heard it used.
So it builds a network.
Exactly. It creates this richer, denser, more interconnected network of knowledge in your brain. And the more connections you have, the easier it is for your brain to find and retrieve that information later. Learning constantly weaves this incredibly rich tapestry.
It also involves a lot of problem solving, doesn't it? Like figuring out why a sentence is structured a certain way, or when you should use the past perfect versus the simple past.
Definitely. Understanding grammar, figuring out verb conjugations, navigating idioms and cultural nuances. It all requires analysis, pattern recognition, hypothesis testing, and flexible thinking. Each grammatical rule you understand, each pronunciation challenge you overcome, each idiom you decipher. It's like adding a new tool or a sophisticated piece of software to your brain's operating system, making it more versatile and adept at handling complex information.
And presumably just staying curious about it all helps fuel the process.
Hugely important. Curiosity is a powerful motivator. Being curious about the language. Why is this word used here? What's the origin of this phrase? It actually releases dopamine in the brain.
Dopamine, the reward chemical.
Exactly. And dopamine is known to enhance learning and memory consolidation. So a curious mind is an engaged mind, and an engaged mind learns better and stays sharper and more youthful.
It's kind of amazing to think that the very act of learning English, which many listeners are doing, is itself such a fantastic way to boost all these cognitive functions. We're talking about Memory, attention, problem solving.
It's honestly one of the best all-around mental exercises you can possibly do. You're acquiring an incredibly valuable life skill and significantly enhancing your brain's overall health and capabilities at the exact same time. It's a win-win.
And this principle applies to learning other complex skills too, not just language.
Absolutely. Learning to play a musical instrument, for instance, demands intense auditory processing, fine motor coordination, memory for melodies and notation, and rhythmic timing. Learning to paint requires visual processing, spatial reasoning, motor control, and creative problem solving. Any activity that requires sustained focus, deliberate practice, and consistently pushes you just beyond your current abilities encourages neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity, that's the brain's ability to change, right?
Exactly. It's the brain's incredible capacity to reorganize itself, form new neural connections, and adapt throughout our entire lives. Your brain doesn't just stop changing and improving after childhood or your early 20s. Not at all.
That's really encouraging.
It is. Your brain remains remarkably adaptable. The more you challenge it with novel learning experiences, the stronger, more flexible, and more resilient it becomes. It really is like having a mental gym membership that pays dividends in better memory, sharper focus, more creative thinking, and greater adaptability to new situations.
And it's important to remember it's a journey, right? Mistakes are going to happen.
Oh, mistakes are an essential part of the learning process. Don't be afraid of them. Stay curious. Be patient and kind to yourself. Celebrate the small victories along the way, and try to enjoy the actual process of expanding your mind. Every new word you learn, every grammatical structure you understand, every new skill you acquire is literally building a stronger, more capable brain.
So your brain really is like a sponge, ready to absorb and grow no matter your age. Feeding it with new learning is one of the very best things you can do for yourself.
Absolutely. It empowers your brain to better serve you in all aspects of life, remembering, thinking critically, being creative, solving problems, adapting to change. It's the ultimate brain booster.
All right, so we've covered all these powerful internal strategies: sleep, food, movement, mindfulness, memory tricks, repetition, continuous learning. Fantastic stuff. But sometimes, maybe the smartest way to support your memory is to simply acknowledge that your brain does have limits and use some external help. Let's talk about the practical importance of staying organized and using external memory aids.
Yes. This is incredibly practical advice, and honestly, it too often gets overlooked, maybe because it feels like cheating somehow.
Yeah, like admitting your memory isn't good enough on its own.
Right. But that's completely the wrong way to think about it. Your brain is amazing, but it simply wasn't designed to keep perfect track of every single appointment, task, deadline, grocery item, and random fleeting thought simultaneously. Trying to force it to do that just leads to cognitive overload.
That feeling of having too many tabs open in your brain.
Exactly. And as we've discussed, cognitive overload directly impairs your ability to focus, think clearly, and remember what's truly important. External memory aids, whether they're digital or physical, are simply smart tools to offload some of that mental juggling.
So writing things down isn't a sign you have a bad memory. It's actually a sign you're being smart about managing your limited mental bandwidth.
Precisely. Think about it. When you write down a to-do item or capture a new idea in a note or put an appointment in your calendar, you're essentially giving your brain permission to stop constantly looping that information internally. You're saying, okay, brain, you don't need to keep reminding me about this every 5 minutes. I've put it in a safe, reliable place outside.
That frees up mental energy.
Totally. It frees up your precious working memory capacity and allows your brain to focus its energy on the deeper cognitive tasks. Things like understanding complex concepts, making connections between ideas, solving problems creatively, and consolidating new learning into long-term memory. Plus, it significantly reduces the stress and anxiety that comes from constantly worrying you're going to forget something important.
Okay, so what kind of external aids are most helpful? What are we talking about here?
Well, the most classic, tried and true example is the humble to-do list, Whether it's a notepad on your desk, a sticky note, or a list app on your phone, it gives you a clear overview of what needs attention and acts as a reliable reminder system. And let's be honest, there's a certain satisfaction in physically crossing things off a list.
Oh yeah, that little dopamine hit. Love that.
Exactly. Beyond simple lists, digital note-taking apps have become incredibly powerful and versatile. Things like Google Keep, Notion, Evernote, Microsoft OneNote.
Lots of options.
Lots. They allow you to quickly capture fleeting ideas before they disappear, create detailed checklists, save articles or web links for later, and organize notes on all sorts of different topics or projects.
For language learners, these seem like they would be invaluable.
Oh, absolutely essential, I'd say. Instead of trying desperately to remember every single new vocabulary word or confusing grammar point you encounter during the day.
Which is impossible.
Totally impossible. You can just immediately jot it down in a dedicated note or app. You could organize vocabulary lists by theme, like food words or travel phrases. You could create notes for tricky grammar rules and include example sentences. You could even build a whole structured learning dashboard in a tool like Notion to track your progress and resources. The key is having a reliable system where you know you can find the information again later, and importantly, a system that maybe even prompts you to review it.
And is there still value in the old school physical notebook or planner? Some people really prefer paper.
Definitely. There's actually research suggesting that for many people, the physical act of writing by hand helps to embed the information more firmly in memory compared to typing it. The kinetics of forming the letters reinforces the learning.
Interesting.
So using a dedicated notebook for new English phrases, keeping a daily planner for appointments and tasks, or using a journal for study notes, it creates this tangible record you can hold and flip through. Plus, sometimes just physically flipping back through previous pages can be a great way to accidentally stumble upon and refresh information you might have otherwise forgotten.
And presumably just organizing your physical environment, your desk, your study space, probably helps your mental organization too.
Huge difference. A clutter-free desk, having labeled folders for different subjects, using sticky notes for urgent reminders, having designated spots for essential items like your keys or your study materials. All of this reduces visual and mental distractions. When your physical space feels organized and calm, your mental space tends to feel clearer too, making it easier to focus and retrieve information when you need it. It reduces the cognitive load associated with just searching for things or feeling overwhelmed by mess.
So the core principle here is really about reducing cognitive load, offloading the non-essential stuff so your brain can do its best work on the important things.
Exactly. Let these external tools act as a reliable external hard drive for your brain. Free up its RAM, its working memory for the tasks it's truly designed for. Comprehension, analysis, creativity, making connections, forming lasting memories. They support your brain. They don't replace its power. They make it more powerful by freeing it up.
Okay, what are some really practical tips for someone who wants to start using these aids more effectively? Maybe specifically thinking about learning English.
Great question. First, start simple. Don't try to implement a super complex system overnight. Pick just one tool that appeals to you. Maybe a small, dedicated notebook, or a basic app like Google Keep or the Notes app already on your phone.
Okay, one tool.
Then, make it a habit to immediately record things. Hear a new word you don't know, see an interesting phrase, have a question about grammar, jot it down right away before it vanishes. Second, crucially, set regular reminders to actually review what you've recorded. Recording is only half the battle. Retrieval practice through review is key for memory. Use your phone's calendar or reminder app.
So schedule review time.
Yes. Maybe try organizing your notes into simple categories or themes, e.g. kitchen vocabulary, phrasal verbs, past tense rules. If your app allows, use visuals, add pictures related to vocabulary words. And remember, digital flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet, which we discussed earlier, are fantastic external aids, specifically designed for that spaced repetition review of the things you've recorded elsewhere.
It feels like these aids aren't magic, but they just make the whole process of learning and remembering feel so much more manageable and less stressful.
They absolutely do. They reduce that mental burden. They make information easily accessible when you need it for review. And when you combine them with active learning techniques like spaced repetition, they create a really powerful system for acquiring and retaining knowledge effectively. Stay organized to stay sharp. Your brain will be less stressed, more focused, and ultimately more effective.
We have covered such a wide range of fascinating strategies today. Everything from the absolute foundations like sleep and nutrition to active techniques like mnemonics and space repetition, brain training, the huge power of continuous learning, and the practical support of staying organized.
Yeah.
But there feels like there's one essential principle that kind of underpins the effectiveness of all of these strategies. Perhaps the single most important rule for genuinely improving your memory and really learning any skill effectively over the long haul.
You're absolutely right. And that core principle is simply this: consistency over intensity.
Consistency over intensity. Say more about that.
It's absolutely non-negotiable if you want lasting results. When it comes to strengthening neural pathways, building durable memories, mastering new skills, regular, frequent practice, even if it's in small doses, is vastly more effective than trying to do infrequent, super intense marathon sessions.
Like the difference between going to the gym for 20 minutes every day versus trying to do a 4-hour workout once a month.
Exactly like that. You know which one builds real lasting strength and fitness, right? It's the consistent effort. Your brain works the same way. Those neural connections strengthen through consistent use and repeated exposure over time.
It makes intuitive sense, but I think we're so often tempted by the idea of the quick fix, the crash course, the intense push right before a deadline.
We are. Culturally, we often value intensity. But for deep learning and building robust long-term memory, the brain just doesn't work best that way. Remember the spacing effect we talked about with spaced repetition?
Yeah, reviewing just before you forget.
That works because you revisit the information over time at spaced intervals. Each encounter, especially those moments of slightly effortful retrieval, reinforces the memory trace. It signals to your brain repeatedly, this information is important, keep this connection strong. Cramming, on the other hand, just causes cognitive overload.
Too much, too fast.
Exactly. You might manage to hold the information briefly in your working memory, but because it wasn't given the time and the repeated signals needed to properly consolidate into long-term storage, most of it degrades very quickly.
It feels productive in the moment, maybe, but it's like building on sand. It doesn't last.
Precisely. I know from my own experience and from watching countless people learn new things, trying to force hours and hours of intense study into 1 or 2 days is just exhausting, inefficient, and ultimately ineffective for long-term retention. But switching to a consistent daily habit, even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes of focused work on that skill or subject each day, leads to much steadier progress, deeper understanding, and far better recall over time. It wasn't about pushing harder all at once. It was simply about showing up consistently.
So the real key is finding those small, manageable habits that you can actually stick with daily or almost daily.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Maybe it's learning 5 new vocabulary words and reviewing yesterday's 5 every single morning. Maybe it's doing a 3-minute mindfulness breathing exercise before you start work. Maybe it's playing 1 or 2 brain games during your commute. Maybe it's reviewing your notes using spaced repetition for just 10 minutes before bed.
Small, achievable steps.
Small steps that easily fit into your existing routine. They reduce that feeling of overwhelm, they build momentum almost effortlessly, and they become habits. And super important, remember that consistency does not mean perfection.
Good point.
If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't think, oh, I failed, I might as well give up. Just acknowledge it and get back on track the next day. The important thing is the overall pattern of regular engagement, not achieving a flawless streak.
That element of patience and kindness toward yourself seems really crucial when you're trying to build new habits, especially learning habits.
It absolutely is. Memory improvement, language learning, skill acquisition. It's all a journey, not a race. It takes time. Celebrate the fact that you showed up today. Consistency also has the added benefit of reducing stress because you're not constantly facing these huge, daunting mountains of work right before you need the information. A more relaxed approach actually helps your brain absorb and retain information better. And as a consistent habit becomes more automatic, it requires less willpower, making it easier to maintain and even gradually increase the duration or challenge over time if you want to.
So whether we're talking about getting enough sleep, eating well, moving our bodies, practicing mindfulness, or doing active study, the real engine of lasting change and improvement is that commitment to consistency.
Small, smart, consistent steps taken regularly. Your brain responds beautifully to that kind of gentle, persistent effort. It builds strong, flexible, reliable pathways over the long haul. That's the secret sauce.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, we have explored so many fascinating angles on how memory works, this incredibly complex and vital part of who we are, and more importantly, how you can actively work with your brain, using practical strategies to improve it and make learning feel more effective and hopefully more enjoyable too.
Yeah, we started by kind of pulling back the curtain on memory itself, didn't we? Understanding those different systems, short-term, long-term, and that crucial working memory. And just as importantly, identifying why we forget things, realizing it's often due to simple, addressable factors like lack of attention or stress or fatigue, not some inherent flaw in our brains.
Right. Then we really dove into those foundational pillars of brain health that directly impact memory. The absolute non-negotiable importance of sleep for consolidation and that amazing lymphatic cleaning process. Fueling your brain with the right nutrition, think blueberries, omega-3s, hydration, and the surprising power of even short bursts of movement and exercise for boosting blood flow and those vital brain growth factors like BDNF.
Mm-hmm. We also explored how practicing mindfulness can be such a powerful tool to anchor your attention in the present and reduce the stress that so often cripples memory function, offering some really simple techniques anyone can try. And then we had some fun with mnemonics and memory tricks, learning how to turn boring, abstract information into sticky, memorable images, stories, or rhymes by leveraging how your brain naturally loves patterns, novelty, and visualization.
Yeah, the weirder the better. We also looked at the really solid science behind repetition and spaced learning, understanding how strategically reviewing information over time is the key to beating that forgetting curve and locking knowledge into lasting memory. We highlighted how great tools like flashcards and apps like Anki can make this super efficient. And we saw how challenging your brain, whether through brain training games or even more powerfully, by diving into learning a new language or skill like English, provides this comprehensive workout that builds new connections and keeps your mind flexible.
And finally, we didn't forget the practical side. We discussed the essential support role of staying organized and using external memory aids like notebooks and apps to offload cognitive load and free up your mental space for deeper thinking. And we landed on the absolute core principle that really unites all of these strategies: the power of consistency over intensity. Remembering that building strong memories and skills is about regular, gentle, persistent practice, not infrequent, overwhelming effort.
So the big takeaway really is your memory isn't static, it's not fixed, it's this dynamic, adaptable system. It truly is like a muscle that thrives and grows stronger with kind, curious, and consistent exercise.
Absolutely. And maybe as you finish listening to this deep dive, here's a friendly little challenge for you. Could you choose just one small thing we talked about today to try out this week? Just one.
Yeah, keep it simple. Maybe it's committing to actually using an external note-taking app every time you encounter a new English word you want to remember this week. Or maybe trying that 1-minute mindful breathing practice before your next study session.
Or perhaps it's even simpler. Maybe it's just making a conscious effort to drink an extra glass of water each day. Or adding some berries or walnuts to your breakfast tomorrow morning. Pick one small, manageable action.
Try incorporating that one small change daily, or as consistently as you can, and just notice what happens. See if it makes any difference in how you feel, how focused you are, or maybe how well information seems to stick. Be your own scientist.
And maybe for a final thought to ponder as you go about your day, thinking about everything we've discussed, what's just one simple step you could take today, maybe even right now, using one of these strategies to make learning or maybe just navigating your daily life feel a little bit less overwhelming and a little bit more memorable?
Thank you so much for joining us for this exploration into the fascinating world of memory.
It's been great diving into this. Remember, learning English and boosting your brain power truly do go hand in hand, and we really hope these insights are helpful and supportive for you on that journey.
Keep practicing, stay curious, be consistent, and keep that amazing brain of yours active and engaged. We'll see you on the next deep dive.